I remember going downtown with my mother, and I saw a water fountain. I think I was about 5 years old, and I ran and I drank from the water fountain. All of a sudden, she grabbed me by the neck and said, "Don't you ever do that again," and start punching me in the back of my head and my face, and got me down on the ground, was punching me relentlessly. And I said, "Mama, please, it's me, Mama, it's me," with this crazed look in her eyes. And then a white policeman came, and he had a nightstick in his hand. He was hitting it in his left hand. He said, "Okay, all right, you beat that little nigger boy enough. Now I won't have to beat him with this nightstick." And he walked away laughing. And my mother broke down and started crying and saying, "Leslie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I said, "Mama, why'd you beat me like that?" She said, "These water fountains are for white only, son. And if that cop had hit me with his nightstick, he would have to kill me. I'd have fought him till he killed me, and I'd left you and your brothers and sisters by themselves to raise themselves. I'm so sorry." And the book called Learned Optimism, um, Seligman talk about the fact that between ages 0 and 5, we determine what's available to us and what's not available to us. And so that was a defining moment. I knew there are certain things I could not do, certain places I could not go. They used to have signs on Miami Beach that said, "Jews, dogs, and coloreds not allowed." And so now you have to operate within the constraints of the dominant society and the things that they've created for you. And it's a challenge to see yourself beyond that and to work to get outside of that, even after those laws have changed, because that has become so much a part of you. You unconsciously operate within the parameters of what has been put in place. One of the worst things that you can do is provide an environment and get people to buy in a lie about themselves and cause them to live a small life as opposed to a life of achievement. When I was a kid, I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with my twin brother Wesley. We were adopted. When I was 6 weeks of age, I was labeled educable, mentally retarded when I was in the fifth grade. I moved, they put me back from the fifth grade into the fourth grade. I failed again in the eighth grade. I have no college training. So being identified and labeled as DT, the dumb twin, it gave me a lot of things to overcome. And when you're raised in poverty, that vision of yourself, that culture, those circumstances, those conversations, those things that you observe, they begin to create the lenses from which you see the world. And so to overcome that it's a major, major challenge.
I'm curious, when did you start to believe in yourself? Was someone...
My mother was working for a very wealthy family. She worked for wealthy families on Miami Beach. And I remember Mr. Sidursky. She cooked for these families, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. She kept their children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she worked for. And when I had the assignment of cleaning Mr. Sidursky's office and shining his shoes, and he was listening to various motivational recordings, and those words I had no idea while I was shining his shoes, listening to people like Jim Rohn, people like Zig Ziglar, listening to some of the words of Winston Churchill. And so I had no idea while shining his shoes, listening to these words, that it began to restructure my vision of myself. And how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. My mentor, Mike Williams in Columbus, Ohio, he said, "Les, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy." He said, in order to change people, you have to create a significant emotional event, that you have to interrupt a person's story that they believe about themselves with your story. And through the delivery of your story strategically, you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to make new choices. Because when you change how they see themselves, all you have to do after that is to get out of the way. First time I stood up to speak, I stood up and my mind sat down. I choked. I couldn't remember anything. When I spoke in the Georgia Dome, I went to the bathroom 7 times. They knocked on the door. Brownie! I said, what is it? Come out, man. Dexter Yeager, they're pausing now because it's time for you. And I made a mistake. I looked out at the audience and I panicked. I said, Mike, I don't hear the voices. I'm scared. He said, Brownie, they came to see you. You didn't come to see them. He said, come out. You will hear the voices. I said, I don't know, Mike. I've been trying. I just don't know. I'm scared. And he said, just be scared and do it anyhow. Don't speak. I said, I don't have to speak? He said, no. I said, then what will I do? He said, just tell a story. Tell a story of where you are, about what you're going through, and about the goal and dream for buying your mother a home. You know, I told my mother, I said, Mama, when I become a man, I'm going to buy your home. I said, when I turn 18, I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to be able to buy groceries for us. We won't have to wait till someone eats and hope that there's something left over. I'm going to buy brand new clothes for us, and we won't have to wear somebody else's children's clothes that they've worn all year long. And because of her example and my love for her and the passion that I felt in my heart, I've got to do something to make her proud. I've got to do something to put myself in position to be able to take care of her. That drove me. My mother, she made a way out of no way. I saw her go through some challenging experience, raising 7 children by herself. She when they when she couldn't work anymore, had arthritis, she wrote numbers and sold moonshine and homebrew. And she went to jail for a period of time. You know, I was 10. I became a man then. And so I remember when I was with her, when she passed on my youngest son's birthday. And I remember holding her hand when she took her last breath. And I said, I thank you for choosing us. I never felt that I was given away. I always felt that I was chosen with love. And I said, I'm going to make you proud that you chose us. So when I speak, I think about her and the tough times we went through. My favorite book says, think it not strange that you face the fiery furnaces of this world. But I affirm, no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. And I heard her say that she was determined we will always have a roof over our head, food on the table, and clothes on our back. And she was able to make a way out of no way.
My first major goal was to buy my mother a home. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. What will reasons do, Les? Nietzsche said, if you know the why for doing, you can endure almost anyhow. What do you mean by that? If you know why you're doing something, when the hard times come, and they're going to come, when the disappointments and the rejections come, and they're going to come by the truckloads, your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you, to pick you up. Once again, I got a saying on one of my tapes, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Let your reasons get you back up.
I think it's important that people find something that gives their life a sense of meaning and value, that drives them, that becomes their magnificent obsession. Don't just do it for the money. You can make a lot of money. I earn more in 1 hour than 90% of the American public earn working for 5 years. But when you find something that you love, you will study it. Something that you love, it becomes a difference between being in speaking and speaking being in you, that you will become not just confident, but you will become competent on that. The average speaker get around 25 to 30 requests a year. I get over 3,000. I wanted this group of people that I was talking to, I wanted to challenge them to get outside of their comfort zone and to become uncomfortable with where they are. There's no saying you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. However, if you know how to speak strategically and create a special moment, you can create a thirst where they want to drink. And so when I got to the end of my presentation, I looked at them and I said, right now I want to talk to you about Dr. Howard Thurman, who was one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi. And he said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those gifts. And there they are looking at you with large, angry eyes saying, we came to you. And only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what gifts will die with you? I pause, and the room is silent. And one of the things I say to people, don't discount yourself. I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because I didn't believe being labeled educable mentally retarded, failing in the 5th grade, put back to the 4th grade, and no college education, that I can compete with people with PhDs and MBAs. And so for 14 years, a lot of people say they have no regrets. The biggest regret that I have, that I disapproved of myself for 14 years. And then I went to a training and a guy was speaking. And it just stopped, like a spell came over him. He said, there's somebody here who should be doing this. He said, I do it because I make a lot of money. And he said, I love to make money. He said, but you want to change lives. And you can make money too, young man, young lady. And he said, you know who you are. And then he paused again. He said, the reason I'm standing up here holding this microphone and you're seated out there, I represent the thoughts you have rejected for yourself. That hit me right between the eyes. I began to cry. At that time, this is in 1980, I went outside. I called Mike Williams. I said, Mike. He said, yes. I said, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Do you hear me? He said, Brownie, calm down. Listen to me, man. I'm not rejecting myself anymore. I wish I had not waited 14 years. Somebody said, if you want to lose something, lose money, but don't lose time. There were 14 years I sat on the sideline. 14 years I said, I don't have an investor in me like Tony Robbins. 14 years it said, I don't have an MBA or a PhD, and I can't compete with these guys. I have the complexion of rejection. 14 years I silenced myself. Wow. And so I regret that, because there's some people that maybe if they'd heard my voice, they would not have turned to drugs. If they'd heard my voice, their lives would have taken a different direction. And I can't get those 14 years back. That haunts me. And maybe I think that drives me when I speak with such energy. I'm trying to make up for that time, but I can't.
What's the message you would share with the world?
I would say, you have greatness in you. I don't know you, but here's what I know based upon my own experience. You have greatness in you. And so we have to begin to ask ourselves, who am I? Most of us are living a lie. Most of us, because we live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, we go to our graves never knowing who we really are. Most people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65. Who are you really?
For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream.